It's just a fanfiction, a story written by me, your writer. This has nothing to do with mentioned idol, BTS members, real life event, behavior, or characteristics. Pics, sounds, videos, wizard used in this video are not mine. Credit goes to rightful owners. But the editing and storyline is mine. Do not copy it. This is kind of dark story and have mentioned of sensitive topics. Read this at your own risk. You have been warned beforehand. Sitting on the train seat, Vian was nervously clutching her purse. She had successfully tricked the bodyguards, even left her wedding ring at the hospital. She also left her mobile at house. It was very hard for her to leave her years of hard work, her certificates, her identity cards behind and ran away to a new place. In the new place, she had to erase this Vian and made her new identity. She had to do this to live. It would have been more easy if Taehyung willingly separated from her, but he didn't. So she had to choose this path. Before doing this, she had left a letter in their bedroom telling him to not look for her and also left her parents alone. She just hoped he would at least do this for her. She was busy in her thoughts when she felt someone sat too close to her. She moved to her side a little as there were some of empty seats beside hers in that train compartment. How far are you willing to go from me, Vian? Hearing the voice, she immediately looked at the source of it and knowing very well whom this belonged to, her husband Kim Tae-young. Her eyes widened, seeing him. You, it took me more than 4 hours to find you cause you didn't use your identity right and boarded a train. On the next station, we are getting down. Dare you to deny me or try to escape? I'm warning you, Ryan. I am neither. Do you wanna create a scene here, nor do you wanna media's breaking news and humiliate mom and dad? And one more thing. Dare you to again throw your ring away? Saying this, he again made her wear the ring which was equal to Snake's grave for her now. Seeing his state, she chose to obey him as it was the most wise decision for that time being. Taeyang entered house while holding Wine's wrist tightly and straight went to their shared bedroom. Anyone could tell by his face that how much angry he was that time. Locking the door, he left her wrist and roared, "What were you doing, Vian?" "Leaving you," she answered, matching his aura. Screaming, he threw the vase on the floor, breaking it into pieces. "Don't forget, Taeyang, I can also break things. My anger is much more violent than yours." Saying this, she threw the water glass which was on the night table. Closing his eyes, he ran his fingers through his hairs. He knew her words were not wrong. At least one of them now need to be calm and sane. "Do you even know what kind of thoughts came to my mind after hearing they couldn't find you? Do you know? I thought you were kidnapped. I thought I lost you, damn it." "That you already did, Taeyang, already." Both of their eyes were deeply looking into each other. "And the fear you were talking about?" Letting a dry chuckle, she said to him, "You have to face it every day, every minute, Taeyang, every second. You chose this path willingly. I am capable of protecting you, Vian. No one have the strength to keep you away from me. No one. I just don't want you to experience even a second of abduction." Wyan looked away from him. There was a brief moment of silence. Why are you doing this, Wyan? You deceived me, Taehyung, more than 3 years. If I couldn't find out about you, then you would have continued to deceive me for whole life. You know, right? I was helpless. I. That's why I told you to leave me, Taehyung. I told you to go for the easy way. I didn't be delusional and told you to leave your illegal activities because if you were taking down your weapon, your opponent will point out the same to you that very same moment. Plus, this is happening through generation in your family. So be happy with your power and position. I am no one to tell you to step down from it. You think leaving you is the easy way? Yes, Thayang, it should be. Why? I just don't want a criminal to be my husband. I don't, Thayang. Is it too much for to ask? There was a pregnant pause. Did you even ever love me, Ryan? Did you? Both of them didn't dare to look away from each other's eyes. Both of their breathing rate was faster than usual. If you want it or not, I am your lawfully wedded husband and you are my lawfully wedded wife. And this will remain same until death does us apart, just like we vowed during our wedding. Saying this, he left from the house not before ordering the guards to do their duty correctly and to not let her step out from there, as he knew if he stayed there any longer he would regret it later. After he left, Vine's knees got weak. She supported her back on the wall behind her. Then she slowly slided down and sat on the floor. One tear leaked from her eyes, then another, then one more, and her tears did not stop falling from her eyes anymore. Taeyang didn't come back that night, nor did he come back on the next morning. Previous days' events were too much for him to take in. He knew if he went back that time, it would lead to another argument. So he waited some time for both of them to calm down. He entered his house in the evening all exhausted, both mentally and physically. He was about to go to kitchen to grab water when he saw the figure sitting on the living room sofa. His breath hitched seeing that. Vine was sitting on the sofa while wearing a maroon colored full sleeve long A-line dress. She wore red tone lip tint and blush. He also wore gold earrings with pearls. In one word, she was looking breathtaking. You came. Smiling softly, she asked him. He was too stunned to speak anything. I have told our cook to make your favorite food. Come upstairs, we are having dinner at our room only. Smiling at him, she got up and went upstairs. Unable to form any words, he followed her. Entering his own room, he couldn't believe it was real or not, as it was decorated with numerous flowers and candles. Sweet aroma of the candles were all around the room. Is today something special? No, Thayang, today is not special, but still, will you have dinner with me? Hearing her soothing voice, he couldn't say no to her. See, go freshen up first then. Again he obeyed her. When he came back from the washroom, she served both of them dinner and both ate while listening to soft music. When he was done with the dinner, she got up and played the song Still With You. Singer's melodious voice filled the room with soothing background music. She went towards him and asked, extending her palm towards him. May I? Smiling softly towards her, he grabbed her palm. Both started to dance slowly while hearing the melody. His left hand was on her waist while her right palm was on his shoulder. His left hand was intertwined with his right one. Moving closer to him, she touched her nose with his. There was minimal gap between their lips. Both of their hot breath was touching each other's lips. Didn't matter who made the first move, but their lips met each other and they started to devour each other. Her fingers were already lost in his dark hairs, and his right palm was gently grabbing her neck. With her left hand, she guided his right palm to her earrings, indicating him to remove them. By the moment he knew she was asking him to take her to bed, and he did exactly that. After all, he was also wanted the same. Time skip. Both men and a woman in their late 20s were laying on their bed. Both of their previous clothes were discarded in the floor. Now they were lying only in their burst suit. Tangled up under the bed sheets, her head was on his broad chest and his hand was wrapped around her bare waist. Both were hugging each other. His eyes were closed. The atmosphere was peaceful. Taehyung, hmm? What do you think about death? During this peaceful hour, you were asking me about death. Didn't know my nurse wife has interest in philosophy. Opening his eyes a little, he said in his raspy voice, "Tell me, Taeyang, something very venomous. It tries to seduce everyone by its painful beauty. We want it, yet when come face to face with it, we lose all our courage and pray never to face it again. Still, every wing has to face it." "Now sleep, love, it's late." Saying this, he scooped her closer to him and patted her head lovingly. He was about to doze off when he felt wetness near his legs. He put his hand under the duvet and touched the wetness, and brought out his hand outside the duvet. With the help of dim light from the night lamp, he saw red color. "Wagon, your periods has started. Didn't you notice?" he asked, looking at her, who didn't say anything. He slowly got up from the bed and started to wear his joggers. He also brought her silk robe. "You go freshen up in the washroom. I will change the bed sheets. If you want, then I will bring the hot Taeyang." Hmm? He said while taking out the clean bed sheets from the cupboard. He didn't even need to seduce me. I willingly submit myself to him. Feeling weird after hearing her, he turned around and looked at her face. "Who?" Smiling brightly, she answered him. "Death." That's when he saw a stream of blood fill from the corner of her lips. Still, her smile didn't cease. The bedsheet fell from Taeyang's hand and he immediately went towards her. "Why him?" "And you know, it's very pleasurable. Very." She chuckled a little as more blood fell from her mouth. Taeyang cupped her face. "What's happening, Wayan?" He lifted the duvet and made her wear the silk robe. He lifted her in a bridal style and went outside while screaming for the bodyguards who were outside the mansion. On the way to the hospital, he kept mumbling, "She's gonna be okay." His eyes were teary and lips were trembling. She whimpered in a pain while her state got worse. Pressing her palm on his cheek, she said weakly, "Don't keep contact with my parents." His grip on her tightened as a tear leapt from his eyes. We love you, Taehyung, a lot. Just not your work." Sitting outside the OT, he restlessly looked at the door as doctors took her there some times ago. His chest and joggers were full of red patches. Jack and other bodyguards were there, witnessing their ever so cold, fearful boss's vulnerable state. A doctor came outside the OT with gloomy face and he stood up immediately. "The poison she took was too much powerful." "And you came here late. The fetus were already no more. When you brought her here, we tried to inject the antidote, but the bleeding was too much for her to survive. We are sorry." The doctor left and his body dropped on the chair. The fetus were already no more. Too much for her to survive. We love you, Taehyung, a lot. More tears formed in his eyes and blurred his vision. He couldn't hold them back and wailed like a child.